The question for today, it's more of a topic, Understanding Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, Part 1. Cognitive behavioral therapy stops fake news in its tracks. Cognitive behavioral, the name says it all. It helps you to change how you think, that's the cognitive part, and what you do, the behavioral part. These changes can help you feel better and suffer less. In fact, studies show about 50% of participants reach significant improvements in a wide variety of disorders. At the heart of CBT is recognizing that it's not the event which causes our emotions or body physiology changes, it's how we interpret that event. What we think about that causes our feelings or emotions, and the resulting changes in body physiology. For example, if someone honks at you while you're driving your car, the event is the honk. You may interpret that honk in various ways, negative, neutral, or positive. You'll decide among numerous options whether the honk was to make you feel scared by spooking you for the fun of the other driver, or to make you feel bad by pointing out how terrible of a driver you are, or to make you feel inadequate by getting you to speed up or move out of the way, or perhaps to help you feel comforted by letting you know it's safe to change lanes now. Or maybe they were trying to help save you from future harm by pointing out that you left your wallet or purse on top of your car. Or perhaps it had nothing to do with you at all. Maybe they honked accidentally or at someone else. We cannot read other people's minds, but we can read our own. But it's harder than you may think. With the right knowledge and some practice, not only can we read our minds, with the right understanding and training, we can take back control of our mind, take back that control from other people and circumstances who seem to be making us feel the way we do. After we take back control, we can break the cycle that causes negative feelings and symptoms in our body. This is where CBT, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, does its work, helping you take a harmful cycle and turn it around so that it's harmless. Consider the vicious, harmful cycle of a situation, a specific trigger. We used the traffic and car honk earlier, leading to thoughts, then feelings or sensations, both mentally and physical, or both mental and physical, ultimately resulting in behavior, your reaction, which, if unhealthy, feeds the vicious, harmful cycle. As a neurologist, I like to consider what is really going on in the brain. I won't get too technical, but it's good to have a solid picture of reality so you can have confidence in the steps you take to get better. I'll incorporate that neurology in some analogies and a practical example in the next episode. Your brainstem is the reactive instinct. Your limbic is the emotional feeling, and your frontal lobe is the decision-making. The decision-making frontal always responds to the emotional limbic and the reactive brainstem, but the strength of the frontal lobe will determine whether that response is a careful, helpful one, or if it's just reinforcing the activity of the lower brain centers, instinct and emotion. So we want to strengthen our emotion, our decision, no, we don't want to strengthen our emotion. We want to strengthen our decision-making frontal lobe. We strengthen our decision-making frontal lobe in the same way we strengthen muscle, by exercising it and nourishing it. And just like it's much easier and more convenient to relax our muscles and just lay around, it's much easier and more convenient to relax our brains and not strain them. The problem is that the reactive instinct and emotional feeling regions of our brain work quite efficiently together without the decision-making frontal doing any exercise at all, while it's just laying there watching. So as we relax our frontal lobe, our reactive and emotional brain parts grow ever stronger, feeding each other, often with misinformation. You might think of this as fake news. Interestingly, when our frontal brain does engage, we see that reacting after being passive takes just as much effort and creates a lot more stress and bad behaviors. We're just feeling lousy in the long run. The problem with many of our brains is that they seem to be pre-programmed to really want to believe this fake news. And they are. Much of this pre-programming likely happens through genetics and our early upbringing. The reprogramming begins with questioning the news, the conclusions of the reactive and emotional parts of our brain, to see if it's really fake news. We need to take control before we restart the process of losing it again. That's easy to say, But we can accomplish it with the help of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Consider this vase and its shadow. Although not all interpretations are correct, it is possible to interpret our circumstances, even your conclusions, in a way that is both true and helpful. CBT helps us reprogram by giving us understanding, techniques, and opportunities to reprogram our brain. In the short term, deciding after we have thought about what's going on does take a lot more effort. Effectively, exercising our brain looks less like lazy, passive reacting and more like contemplating, thinking, then deciding what thoughts we will choose and how we choose to respond to those physical and emotional feelings. Effective brain exercises help put you back in control of your own brain and body. That sounds a little like I'm selling it as opposed to just explaining it, but the concept is one that I apply daily in my office, although I typically apply it to other brain circuits, usually the motor or sensory. In upcoming episodes, I'll address whether or not research has shown good results. But for now, let's consider why this problem doesn't fix itself. Without the decision-making frontal lobe questioning the reactive and emotional parts of the brain's conclusions, we simply put those instincts and emotions into words, blame our circumstance for our feelings, and use the power and decisions of our decision-making frontal lobe to choose behaviors and thoughts that prepare us for more of the same negative experiences. This puts our body in a very stressed condition. This puts other people or circumstances in charge or in control of us. To prevent other people and circumstances from controlling us or from making us do things, we must begin to question news from our own brains. In our next episode, we'll show you what actually happens in the neurons of your brain, why they're so resistant to change, and give you a specific example of how you can use CBT to rewire them for success. So for now, I'd like to know your thoughts. Please leave a comment or request a review of a particular research study. To stay connected to tinnitus research and therapy applications, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and to be notified of new therapies and video postings, click the bell and subscribe to our email newsletter at tinnitussynergy.com. Thank you, and may God bless you.